try!
Well, I don't think that that would be an accurate assumption right now, or guess. Like, it's so fresh, you know what I mean? But whatever it is, it's serious. Like, when I say serious, there's no doubt he'll be out of the tour, put it that way. And he's in a fair bit of pain in there too, so let's just wait and see what happens with it. But, yeah, it's unfortunate his season's over, yeah.
That's a big blow.
Oh, yeah, of course. You know, like he's a young fella who's coming up too through the ranks, you know, like he's had a couple of starts and he did well in the last game, you know, and he's not going to forget how to play footy between now and next year, that's for sure. So, you know, he'll have a chance to probably have a bit, you know, bigger pre-season now and get himself right. And, you know, mate, one of the things we've talked about is building our depth. We've been doing that. And now himself, I don't know about Lucan. There's a good chance Rory Arnold's going to be out of the tour as well with his knee. So, you know, someone else could pop up now and grab a spot there who hasn't been on the scene before. And, you know, if you look at a kid like Liam Wright who come on today, there's a lot of lads who are up for it. You know, he come on and did a great job, I thought, for a guy who had no thought that he was going to be playing when he came in. And I sort of said to him, it's a week of experience for you, get a look around. And I didn't think he'd be playing myself. I thought he did a good job. So we'll go back now in the hotel and have a chat and see where we're at.
Is it realistic for Liam to be on the plane?
Oh, mate, I think we need to have a look at the, you know, the overall combination now, because before, and a lot will depend on Lucan's prognosis. Like if he's only a week or two, I would definitely take him. You know, if it's longer, then it wouldn't be really worth it, would it? So we'll just see what that prognosis is. So that often opens up whether there's a back row spot or not. You know, because he can cover both. You know, Ben McCalman put his hand up pretty strong for a guy who hasn't played a lot of footy, and you know he's so reliable. Thought he did. You know, he had limited time to get to know what was going on. He looked pretty accomplished when he was out there, and that was pleasing. You know, considering the back road situation there. So we'll just see how it pans out, mate. But this is footy. This is what happens. And it, you know, you turn the negative into the positive, and you say, okay, we've been blooding a lot of young guys who are coming through, and I think that's been seen. A few of them have been coming up, getting exposed to it. Rodder, Jack, you know, those first years of getting up into that zone, few injuries, you know, hopefully Jermaine came through that as well. I got him off because he's had a problem with that ankle before, because he's another guy that I thought did well when he came on, you know, sorted out the right-hand side of the scrum nicely. There's a few players there that we need to get a look at before we'll pick a squad regardless, and then we'll make the assumptions after we get some more scans, probably tomorrow, I'd say. No, philosophical, mate. You know, footy, that's, you prepare the best you can for every game. The game, you know, in this window is never like we haven't done it before, and it's obvious that I was conscious of that by the changes I made in the team. And we had a look at the load for all the players over the year so far. Jack was a player who did not have a lot of load because he missed out for a lot of Super Rugby, but at the same time you don't try and put everything into one little slot. But again, he hadn't had a lot of starts going in, so we thought, you know, even a guy like Sean McMahon, you know, we was considered for this game, you know, so because of the load. And you make the decisions, Lucan the same, you know, you make decisions on that. And mate, at the end of the day, this is a great experience. You know, a different role immediately for Dempsey, where he comes into a pack that's relatively, it's more experienced, and then all of a sudden he's one of the most experienced in there. And he's got to do some leading, and I thought he did that, mate. I don't think we would have won the game without him on the field. He made some outstanding stops, and it was it was a contact incident, so it's not like it was overload or anything. Got caught in a ruck, and he got wishbone through there, and yeah, he's not in a great way. I don't think he's in a great way from emotionally either. He's very upset, obviously.
Yeah, just before we came over here, actually, he's pretty upset. You know, he worked super hard to come back from his last injury. He's had a tough year already through some injuries, so you know he's obviously pretty upset. But you know, he's surrounded by some great blokes, some great players around there. A lot of boys going and having a chat with him, and you know, no doubt that with their support, he'll be back bigger and better than ever next year.
Nick, you have many minutes of late for you
was good to get out there and play?
It was great to play. Obviously, I enjoyed the minutes, but on top of that, sort of that group that I've been sort of training with and playing with off the bench for the majority of the year, I got to go out there and play, some strong minutes with them, which I really enjoyed because you form those bonds, sort of toiling away in the background and working hard in that finisher's role. So, it was great to get an opportunity out there and have a good chance to bounce around and see some of those boys stand up in a game that we really needed them to.
Michael, you are blessed with plenty of good Fijians in the outside backs, and there was one playing for the Barbarians today. What do you make of Kelly?
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious what I think it's on Kelly because, I've capped him. He's, played the Tars with me. I signed him from, reserve grade from the Tigers, I think he was at the time. And he's just got so much talent. And, mate, I think he knows what he needs to do around, the fitness side of the game. But he's got an ability, and obviously he'll be, after today in particular, I think he'd be considered because he's got the ability to change a game on his own. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about that. And we can work on some defensive issues that we've had in the past. I think he's worked on those as well. So he's getting it, he's making some good reads. So, we'll discuss that tonight and see if, he can be a real weapon, and as was Eto, I thought, in their team, I thought they always knew they had some X factor, you know what I mean? And I think in the backs, obviously those guys, and then in the forwards, Nasirani, and I think he showed that today.
What about the 2 10s, Mike? You had Duncan and,
Yeah, obviously the game. Duncan, it was a big ask of Duncan to come in and all of a sudden run the game. He's never played the shape before. It's different, Yeah, I felt like it was the experience I wanted to give him because I think he's a good player, and I think we've got a stack of 12s. So I wanted to have we've got Hodge, Kirtley, Carmichael, Billy Meeks. There's a queue going on there, right? So I thought it would be good to show Duncan that we've got an interest in him there. I didn't have a lot of expectation this game for him. I wanted to give him that experience in there and then, talk with him afterwards and see if it's something that he can grow into. Because he's got a smart football mind. He's threat himself, which he showed, scored a try, made a couple of other breaks running himself. I just think, he should be much more self-confident about his ability, that guy, because he's a class player. He's very well liked by his peers as well.
Michael, did Carmichael show enough, do you think, to take that 15?
I think we'll have a look at the comp, but I thought he did a good job, you know what I mean? And then he has the versatility to be able to come up into the line. I think that was a really essential thing we wanted to do in that second half, was just get a bit more push in D and then also get a bit more go forward in attack. And I thought he brought that straight away, when he came up in the front line, that versatility. So we'll probably mix and match, have a look at a few things once we get going, and we'll take a look at some of the opponents and see where we think he'll be best suited, whether it's in the front or in the back.
Do you think that obviously it was a huge change of personnel for you guys? Is it a little bit of anxiousness, anxiety? You start and the Barbars have got nothing to lose. You guys want playing good firstly.
Yeah, I think I think the boys out there wanted to take their opportunities. They they were really looking forward to getting out there and playing some footy. And a lot of the boys hadn't worn a gold jersey before, so that first part of the game, it's tough to train against a bar style. We definitely knew what they were going to bring all week. We knew that style, that off the deck sort of stuff that they were using so well in the game out there. And we just, I guess we sort of waited. We sat off a little bit there in the first 20, 30 minutes, and a quality team like that, especially the razzle dazzle that they had in some of their players, make you pay for that. So, I think the work that we did at half time and then coming out after half time knowing exactly what we needed to do was the best thing for us. And then, seeing some of the boys just straighten up in their role and know exactly what we needed to do sort of got us on the front foot a bit more.
Michael, are you likely to take some development players like last year?
I wouldn't say, because there's no midweek game this time. There was last year we had a fifth game and a fifth test and also a midweek game. So they were always going to get footy. I'm not going to take development players if they don't look like they're going to get footy. Maybe we might look at one you know, it really depends. It depends on what comes down. We've got obviously a list of what we're looking at, and then it depends what comes back to us from the medical report about who's who, you know. And there's obviously some guys who, you know, could be on the fringe there that could be involved in NRC finals, and I think that, you know, that playing in those finals will be important as well, you know. So it's all about making. They'll get more development doing that, I think, in this instance than going on the tour if they're not going to play. But I'll look at the combination. There's some young guys out there that I'm definitely interested in.
Interesting to see the jumper move. Or did you expect that one?
Well, we expected something, but when you don't know what to expect, it's hard to expect it, isn't it, you know? So it was well done. I thought it was well done. You know what I mean? I thought it was a bit unlucky, you know what I mean, that they didn't get the meat pie. But yeah, it's definitely hard to defend, no doubt about it.
Is it illegal? Is that on the tour or not?
We probably won't take it on the tour, no. I don't think we get away with that one in the Northern Hemisphere for some reason, us Southern Hemisphere lads. So we'll leave it to the invitational teams and let them have good fun. And I think the crowd enjoyed it as well, which was a big part. That was pretty awesome today. In particular the post-match. Well, it wasn't a huge crowd, but post-match, the people all coming on the field and just the support and, you know, asking for signatures, and the players loved being out there with them. I think it was a really good opportunity for us to do that. I didn't expect that was going to happen at the end of the game. So I think the lads really enjoyed that because we've been trying really hard, you know, like to be consistent, make people, you know, make Australian people proud of how we play and want to watch us. And you felt a lot of support out there on the field after the match, definitely.